And we have a big Republic super exclusive breaking right now. The NCW versus Maneka Gandhi face-off is the big Republic exclusive. Keep in mind, it all began when Maneka Gandhi, the Minister for Women and Child Development, wrote a note to the National Commission for Women's Chief, Lalita Kumaramangalam, asking for a window to be opened by the NCW for men to file complaints against false harassment and the abuse of laws favoring women. Now, the NCW chief, in response to that, wrote back saying that the legal opinion on the matter has been sought from a former Chief Justice of the Delhi High Court and a Supreme Court advisor, and that the NCW Act of 1990, under which the NCW was formed, does not allow, is not legally tenable enough to open a window like that. And more importantly, this will lead to unnecessary litigation for the National Commission for Women. And at the same time, the National Commission for Women Chief Lalita Kumaramangalam also writing to Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad, keeping him in the loop, keeping the Law Ministry in the loop, saying that such and such communication has been received from the Ministry for Women and Child Development, and this is our response after seeking legal opinion. The face-off between the National Commission for Women's Chief Lalita Kumaramangalam and the Minister for Women and Child Development Maneka Gandhi is the big Republic super exclusive, because we've accessed all the letter correspondence that has taken place between the ministries. We have Shweta Kothari, who got us those letters, joining us live from Delhi. Shweta, you've got access to all the communication between the National Commission for Women, Maneka Gandhi and the Law Ministry. Talk to us.
Well, Krishna, yes, we've exclusively got a copy of all the communication that happened between the Women and Child Development Minister Maneka Gandhi and the NCW Chief Lalita Kumaramangalam. What we're given to understand that on 27th of July 2017, the Minister for Women and Child Development wrote a note to NCW saying that we want a window to be opened in NCW, within the mandate of NCW, for men who are aggrieved, men who've been victims of violence, men who are a victim of false dowry complaint, rape complaint, etc. Now, she also said that she's received numerous complaints, and we have a copy of the note, if I may ask my camera person to pan in there, and she wrote, I have been receiving a large number of complaints from men who claim that they have been falsely implicated in cases of domestic violence, dowry, rape, etc. She further writes, I would like the National Commission for Women to provide a window to such men where they can bring up instances of false complaints against them. She also mentions in a note, that I would like this window to be created online so that the complaints can be filed online. But she's also saying, she's admitting to the fact that this window can be misused, and so therefore there should be a rigorous complaint mechanism for frivolous complaints, that the NCW Commission does not entertain any frivolous complaints for men. However, replying back to this letter is a letter we have further from the NCW chief. She's writing to Maneka Gandhi, and she clearly says that she's sought legal opinion from senior advocate of Supreme Court Raju Ramchandran and Justice A.P. Shah, who's a former Chief Justice of the Delhi High Court, and both of them are of the view that such a complaint window is not tenable for NCW. Remember, NCW was established under the National Commission for Women Act 1990. It is established to mandate and study, monitor all matters related to constitutional and legal safeguard for women and issues relating to women. And she's making it very clear in her letter, as you can see, the power and jurisdiction to create a window for men to highlight their grievances against women is not tenable under the NCW Act. But she does not stop any further. The NCW chief made it absolutely necessary to also keep the Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad in loop. She also wrote a letter to Ravi Shankar Prasad. Yes, Krishna.
Shweta, that's the big story today, isn't it? This has been going on between the National Commission for Women and Maneka Gandhi for a while. But now, it is Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad, the Ministry of Law of the Government of India, that has been asked to look into the matter and has been sort of kept in the loop about this face-off.
Well, absolutely, Krishna. This is for the very first time that NCW chief is hitting back to the Women and Child Development Minister, saying that you cannot be asking a women commission to look into issues relating to men. She's making it very sure that she has sought counsel outside her legal mandate. She's spoken to the former Chief Justice, Justice A.P. Shah. She's also sought an opinion from Raju Ramchandran, who is a former Chief Justice in the Supreme Court. But she also wrote to Ravi Shankar Prasad, and here's a copy of that letter. We also have the copy of that letter that she wrote to Ravi Shankar Prasad, and she made it very clear that she sought legal opinion, and it is incumbent, as she says, as a chairperson of NCW, for me to keep you informed. She's writing in that last line here that as a chairman, it is also incumbent on me to keep the Ministry of Law and Justice of Government of India informed, as well as seek their opinion in the matter and request them to kindly facilitate one. Now, it's going to be a big blow to the NCW, to both NCW as well as the minister, because the minister made it amply clear that she wants a window within a fortnight, and she wrote this note in July.
Exactly,
it's been a few months since then. NCW is not budging, and it's saying constantly, again and again, that it is not our mandate. We will not be coming up with a window for men. Yes, Krishna.
Shweta, that's the point, isn't it? It was the 27th of July when the Minister for Women and Child Development, Maneka Gandhi, wrote to the National Commission for Women asking for this window to be opened in a fortnight. But look at the date today. Nothing has happened. The NCW clearly shutting the door on this complaint window for men, in that sense not paying heed to what the Minister for Women and Child Development wanted.
Yes, Krishna, the NCW sources have told us very clearly that they will not entertain this view. It is not their mandate to open a window for men. They are a commission which has been set up in 1990 specifically to look after grievances from women, to safeguard women's rights, and it is not in their mandate to look after men's rights. We also spoke to a lot of men's rights activists throughout the day, and they said it is not something we expect out of NCW. We do not want NCW to be looking after men's rights because it's not their mandate. They do not have the expertise, and NCW has made it amply clear that they will fight the ministry head on. They are not going to budge. They haven't budged so far, and they will make sure that such a request is not entertained from the part of National Commission for Women.
Right, Shweta, stay with us. Shweta Kothari there on Republic TV, breaking that big Republic super exclusive. And for all those who've just tuned into this news broadcast, we have the communication between the National Commission for Women's Chief Lalita Kumaramangalam and the Minister for Women and Child Development, Maneka Gandhi. And this letter, here it is. I would like the National Commission for Women to provide a window to such men where they can bring up instances of false complaints against them. This is the note that the Minister for Women and Child Development, Maneka Gandhi, wrote to the National Commission for Women on the 27th of July. A window to be created in the online complaints system of NCW. That's what the Minister wanted. And there will be a mechanism to file a complaint, and that is so rigorous that frivolous complaints do not come. Would like to see this window operationalized in a fortnight. This note was sent, keep in mind, on the 27th of July by the Minister of Women and Child Development to the National Commission for Women's Chief, Lalita Kumaramangalam. This is the response that was given by the National Commission for Women's Chief. This was dated 31st of August 2017. NCW sought the opinion of Senior Advocate of the Supreme Court, Raju Ramchandran, being the person of the year, and the former Chief Justice of Delhi High Court, the former Chairman of the Law Commission, which is A.P. Shah. And the NCW does not have the powers and jurisdiction to create a window for men to highlight their grievances against women, not tenable under the scheme of the NCW Act of 1990. That's the legal counsel that was received by the NCW. Let's now listen in to some of the reactions coming in on this big Republic Super exclusive.
We have been joined by former NCW member Shamina Shafiq. Ma'am, if we talk about this story where a window for men is being looked in the NCW, Lalita Kumaramangalam, the NCW chief, and Minister Maneka Gandhi had a fight over that. What is your comment on the same?
Well, as far as former member of NCW is concerned, and looking into the working and of course the act, which very clearly specifies as to what is the purview of the commission, I don't think so there is any space for men complaints to be entertained in the National Commission for Women. And I think the chairperson Lalita Kumara Mangalam is absolutely right. There are ample of institutions in this country to ensure and to give a proper hearing to men in it, if at all they are being troubled. But NCW is certainly not a place to entertain any men complaint there.
Ma'am, if such type of comment, when NCW knows its guidelines, when Maneka Gandhi is a minister and Lalita Kumar Mangalam is NCW chief, and if such kind of things are still coming, when there are clear guidelines of NCW, then how do you see that?
See, I can say one thing. First of all, National Commission for Women should have an independent authority in exercising its rights as well as its duties. And there is already an ongoing discussion as to why at all the NCW has to be within the Ministry of WCD. There has to be a larger ambit to it. The discussions are apart. But otherwise, if you see, I think the Ministry of WCD very clearly knows as to what is the ambit of National Commission for Women. One. The second thing is there are already very limited resources with the National Commission for Women. There are huge problems in the country as far as women is concerned. Already NCW is not able to cope up with those problems, which is very evident. We see every day there are cases of crime against women, which is not at all coming to an halt. Then there is already the budget of National Commission for Women was cut short almost 2-3 years ago. So already with limited kind of budget, with limited resources, limited sanctioned staff, there are huge problems within NCW. Otherwise, if we talk about the act. And now burdening the commission with a window for men complaint to be entertained in National Commission for Women is absolutely unjust and unjust for women of the country. I don't think so. It's a very...
This is one of the remarks that you made, that there is obviously, because NCW is going through lots of complaints. Already they have numbers of complaints. Apart from that, how logical seems like that there should be a window for men? How logical do you see that? Because obviously the name stands for itself. Then what do you comment?
It's an absolutely illogical demand or suggestion for that matter. One, there is police in this country. Every district, every town...
Actually, I condemn it in very strong words. And the Menekas showing the pura and then patriarchal mindset. You know, the crime against the women is rising every day. And, and the women are raped on the street, stalked, molested. Just you saw the case of the Banaras University. And at this juncture, Maneka Gandhi is saying this, instead of going for the redressal of the grievances against the women, which are crimes which are committed against the women, it shows she is endorsing crime against the women, and this is not acceptable. And the women come out on the street. I'm sure they will protest against it.
Between the National Commission for Women and the Minister for Women and Child Development, Maneka Gandhi, is the big Republic exclusive news break that we're tracking over here. And